Hello again, wrestling fans. Welcome to another exciting, compelling, and intellectually stimulating edition of AIWF Ringside Wrestling. Maybe.
What words?
It's all I can think of. So anyway, look, it's right off the bat. To my fellow 49er fans out there, there will be no Super Bowl stew for us this year, but that's all right. We did good until.
Is that why you were late?
Today. Partially, yes, crying over the loss of my beloved 49ers, but also I had
composure.
I figured I figured they were going to lose. Just the way it happened was really unfortunate with all the injuries and penalties and whatnot. It was just an ugly mess. But now I was actually having a last man standing match with the set right here. So if it falls on my head tonight, I hope you get some entertainment value out of it, because it is not cooperating and I'm not feeling very comfortable right now with it behind me. But fortunately, we spare every expense here at AIWF Ringside Wrestling, so it's not heavy, and I don't think it'll cause any type of brain injury. But nonetheless, guys, Brian Danzig, Rick Diesel, Reagan is here with us as well. How's it going?
I'm wide open, man.
Ready to roll. Ready to roll.
Ready to roll. All right.
Let me tell you something.
Information in my brain today.
Yeah, and I was in. I don't know if it's because of this show or my past or whatever, but I was buying dog food in Walmart yesterday, and some kid about 15 years old walks up to me and says, "Aren't you Rick Diesel?" I'm like, "Yeah." That ain't happened to me in a while.
Yeah.
I'm hoping maybe it's go. I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Cool."
I tell you,
that was it. I got my dog food left.
Yeah. Oh my. Well, that's almost as compelling as the time I saw Edge at a concert down here, and I didn't want to hassle him because he wasn't working, so as I walked by, I just said, "Hey man, I'm a big fan," and he didn't even look up from his phone. He just went, "Thanks, man." Like that. And so
I snuck a picture of Jimmy Valiant a few weeks ago at the Sheets here in Winston in his car, and I said to my child, I said, "Hey, that guy over there is a famous wrestler." And she just looked over and looked back at me and was like, "Wow." And then I went, "Snap." And then that was it.
Yeah, don't let him know. He might.
He might hear that. Now he might try to charge me $25. It wasn't with the belt.
You're like, he didn't realize somebody.
I might get the Venmo or PayPal. Please pay me my $10.
Yeah, you're lucky he didn't realize somebody recognized him. He'd have pulled a table out of that trunk and set it up right there in the parking lot.
We love Jimmy, but that's true.
That is, yeah.
I wonder what Jimmy Valiant was doing in Winston-Salem.
Well, it was a Saturday night. It was about 4:00. So I guess he was headed to a show. He had somebody was driving him. And I looked over and I'm like, "God, that old guy's weird looking." And then I was like, "Hey, that's Jimmy Valiant."
You're like, "Hey."
Me and my Yeah, but y'all been doing 85
just like Jimmy
films.
Valiant. Just like Jimmy Valiant. And my child, when I was like trying to tell a story, could care less about my stories, could care less about. I did a terrible job raising my children. So.
Well, you showed me.
As far as wrestling goes.
You have admitted on this show more than once, Reagan, that you love bad wrestling.
I do love bad wrestling.
Maybe you watched so much of it when they were little that they just developed a strong dislike for the entire sport. That's what I would venture. That's a
possibility. There's a lot of AWA that I could have watched that they were like, "That's terrible." So a lot of ESPN, AWA.
Oh yeah, when it was in Vegas.
Yes, when they had less of a crowd than a YWA show. So. Can you bleep that out? Sorry.
Boy, if you had obscure independence wrestling promotion YWA in our drinking game tonight, drink now.
Yes, you won't hear that again.
Oh, I almost forgot.
If you want to know about obscure independence, this is the brain to tap.
Oh, mercy. All right, let's
Yeehaw!
let's get this show going because I got some stuff to go over here with everybody that I think you're gonna enjoy. And get the slideshow kicked off here. And of course, welcome this week. Go. All right, you should be able to see it now. Welcome this week to AIWF Ringside Wrestling. It's January 29th, live here on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. All you have to do is search AIWF Mid-Atlantic Wrestling and Diesel 247. And you can
posted something the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Another follower. I'm up to like 9 now. Yeah.
Hey, the Mid-Atlantic Instagram just went over 200 this week. So, yes, it did. And so you can find us on Instagram. Again, if you're listening, AIWF Mid-Atlantic Wrestling and Diesel 247. You can also follow me on Twitter. I post a lot of wrestling related stuff on my Twitter page. However, there is a pinned tweet that is a warning. If you try to troll me, if I think you're trying to troll me, if I think you're being funny about sideways trying to troll me, I will block you. And I blocked people that I had that I considered good friends. So, if you want to come on there and look at the wrestling stuff, you're more than welcome. But just
stand on your principles, Matt.
Yeah, no politics. Exactly. No politics. No.
There's enough politicking in wrestling, isn't it?
I know, man. Okay. So look, the big one, next one coming up for us, the big one, Capital Punishment Gang Wars, is coming up Saturday night, February 18th, or Saturday afternoon, rather. And remember, this is our last 5 p.m. bell time start for the winter show and winter prices. So for those $5 floor tickets and $3 bleachers, this is your last chance to get in on that deal because I believe Rick Diesel, I know they're going to be up for the anniversary show, but they'll go back to regular
yeah,
pricing.
They'll be back up. The prices will go up by the end of March when our next, because after this one, we have the anniversary show on the 4th and 5th, ain't it, of March, first weekend of March.
Yep.
And then the third weekend of March, we're back with our regularly scheduled programming and our regularly scheduled pricing.
Yeah.
And bell times.
Yes, and evening bell times, which will be great for me because my schedule is going to change again at the end of March, and it just seems to be working out good with the shoot job and wrestling this year. So yay, let's hope that keeps going. But we've already got one match announcement to tell you about for Saturday, February 18th at Veterans Park, and it's this one. It's official. Tommy Pinarelli is back. And he and Ty Tyson are going to team up against Paul Perazzi in a Scrapyard Rules tag team match, which I can only assume Rick Diesel pretty much means no DQ, anything goes. Let's just have a fight.
And you know what? Somebody brought up the fact that that's an old picture of Jeff James there. It is, but it's the only one we have.
Oh, that's Jeff James, not Tommy Pinarelli.
On the show every once in a while.
I thought that was Tommy Pinarelli.
It is. The other one is
Jeff James.
The other one's Jeff James, but it's a very old Jeff
James. I got you.
No, Jeff James looks like a mountain man straight out of Grizzly Adams' show. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, he's got the beard, and I get it. It's an old picture, but it's not our fault.
Yeah, and speaking of which,
we try our best not to go take pictures off of Facebook because they're usually low quality. We like to try. So if you're at a show, any of the workers, wrestlers, whatever, anybody's out there that needs a picture taken at a show, Darren, he runs the music, used to referee sometimes. He takes pictures and stuff for us. So
yes,
Darren, take my picture. Be like Caden Pierre. Every time he sees a camera, pose, by God.
Yeah.
Let's not be like, the Fantastics and be having those pictures when they look like they do now. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Tommy Rogers is dead.
I am a vast well of knowledge. I'm sorry. See, these are things people don't know about me.
All right, so
was Tommy Pinarelli also trained by Scrapyard?
Yes.
Okay, so both him and Ty both trained in the violence of Scrapyard, right?
Yes, they are.
I'm excited.
They have that gives them a distinct advantage in this match, and it's they wanted this match as a tribute to Scrap. So,
Well,
I'm looking forward to the violence.
yes, there should be plenty of it in this one.
Yeah,
But I tell you, Paul Perazzi now they can handle it.
yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
They-
They can get right in there and scrap with the best of them.
Oh yeah, they're one of those teams that they kind of put on a goofy persona and go out there and clown around to kind of make their opponents not take them seriously, but they can definitely fight.
Yes.
So it should be a very interesting matchup.
So, yeah, that's going to be coming up not this Saturday, February the 18th. I'm a little bit bumfuzzled because, well, my next slide is kind of a what if situation. I thought what if this appeared on another website we're all familiar with, and what would it look like in my imagination? What would the title and description be? And so this is what I came up with. And it says, for those of you listening, it's a picture of Kevin Phoenix and TW Rose after they've been hit with those pies, and it says cream pied. And then the description is Ty Tyson delivers a double cream pie to Kevin Phoenix, Cochran III, and TW Rose. So,
well, Kevin Phoenix Cochran III kind of brought that on himself. He was the one that brought up the cream pie thing early in the show. And the fans, all the fans, kind of latched onto that.
They took off with it. I mean, he was asking for it. So
yeah.
Matt doesn't need to be trying to perpetrate any rumors either.
Oh, no. I won't try to perpetrate anything. I'm going to show you guys a video here in just a second that was sent to me by TW Rose, and I don't have to do anything but let you guys see it. Hang on just a second.
I want to know why TW Rose stole one of my grandma's old outfits.
Man,
I thought maybe he raided your mama's old pilot store.
Hey, I know we did one time.
We sure did.
Leopard. Yeah, I'm not a fan of leopard print. But anyway, be that as it may, here we go.
Everything always comes back into style.
Do what?
You wait around long enough. You wait around long enough, everything comes back in style. So
hey, we're getting some laughing emojis on the Facebook page. Hey.
I don't know that I ever thought that leopard print was in style, but nah, I don't think I like it. Anyway, I have got this video sent to us by TW Rose at the request that we play it on this show. And so I'm going to show it to everybody. This was filmed after the matches the last time at the last show after he got home. And here's his post-match comments. And I will let you just be the judge. Let's take a look and a listen to it right now.
January 21st was supposed to be the best night of my life. I was supposed to be going out after the show, and Kevin Phoenix Cochran III was going to give me the best cream pie that I ever had in my entire life. It was going to be my first ever chocolate cream pie. Do you know that, Ty Tyson? But you and your pesky little brat Rose just had to ruin all of that for me, didn't you?
God help us.
Do you know after the show, when I got home, I spent 2 hours getting that sticky stuff out of my hair. 2 hours! Calm yourself, Rose. But that's okay. That's okay. Because February 18th, Capital Punishment Gang Wars. Me and Kevin Phoenix Cochran III get our revenge for what you two did to us the 21st. So, I can't wait till then. I'll see you then, sweethearts. January 21st was supposed.
Well,
Hey, at least we didn't take it off the rails this time.
it got taken off the rails for us. Yes.
Yeah, but don't worry, we'll keep it there somehow. We always do.
Yeah. Thoughts, comments, concerns?
He was not very happy, was he? I mean,
No.
I believe if I'm not mistaken, I believe Kevin Phoenix Cochran III said that it was TW Rose's birthday that day.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's why he was going to be giving him the gift of the cream pie.
Of the chocolate cream pie.
Chocolate. First ever chocolate
And
cream pie.
First ever chocolate cream pie.
Mhm.
And never mind.
Yeah.
I have a shoot job that I can't say any more than that because of my shoot job.
Certainly, things are getting weird over there with the is he commissioner, executive vice president? I don't know what the fuck.
Yes, he won the commissionership.
Yeah.
When his man won the match against Smiling Diamond Dave's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at Seasons Beatings, and I did my inventory of the AIWF network before we came on the air this evening. Seasons Beatings is not there yet, but I promised everybody last week that there was going to be Seasons Beatings footage coming up one way or the other. And tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, January 29th, the ladder match between Clara and Jada Stone is going to premiere on the YouTube channel. It's the fan cam version, which is the version I shoot, which is different than the official version. If you go on the YouTube channel now, AIWF Ringside Wrestling, here's where I start to plug stuff. If you go on the YouTube channel, you'll see that I've divided all the videos up into different categories. You got talk show, which is this, fan cam, which is what I shoot, mainly for content for this show. Then you've got AIWF Classics, which we added another great one this past week with let's see, who was it? It was Lodi against I don't have
Harlem Bravado.
Yeah, Harlem
Harlem?
Bravado. Yeah,
Yes. Whichever one's in the WC in the WWE, not the WCW. In the WWE. And then
Yeah, so that was pretty cool, and so you'll be able to see Jada and Clara tonight. It's not the full match because that's reserved for the network, but you will be able to see the last several minutes of that brutal matchup. So look for that. And speaking of which, thank you again so much for the support on YouTube. We crossed 700 subscribers today. 700. Yes. And, I was so happy and pleased with that. But I also have to make a plea with you folks out there. Please check out the audio version of the podcast. That is, we need your support. I will say that. So you can take us with you in the car. We're available on any podcasting platform except for, I think iHeartRadio won't publish this for some reason or another, but all the other ones, the main ones, Apple, Spotify, the ones that people really listen to, we're there. So all you got to do is search AIWF Ringside Wrestling, and you can have this show with you along your commute every day. So I don't know whether you find that desirable or not, but if you do, it's there for you. So we'd appreciate it if you check it out. All right. So what else we got going on here? Reagan, you said you had done some research on Baron von Raschke. Are you going to share some of that with us tonight?
Well, I found it interesting that while he was working for NWA, that he was also working as a substitute teacher while he was doing his Nazi goose stepping and it was implied, because he was German, but he actually fought in the World War II, and no, I guess. Yeah, and then he came back and did the German, and his last name really was Raschke, which I found interesting. But he worked as a substitute teacher, and I was just talking about how that would go down now, and then stuff. So I found that riveting at the
Yeah,
time.
I've heard that before, but I can't remember where, and I had forgotten it. But now, was that on his stint in the NWA with Crockett Promotions when he was here in the
Yes.
70s or the 80s?
I think so. Yeah, during the 70s when he first started, that was what
Mhm.
he did, because he did his thing with Crockett, and then he went, and did the AWA later on in life.
Mhm.
And then he did manager. He managed in the WWF for like real quick, and they didn't keep him very long. But I can't remember the years in it, and I can't remember who he actually.
It was The Powers of Pain, and it was in 1989. And you're right.
Yeah, and they said like he came and he went like real quick. So I guess they didn't like that gimmick. So and then he went on to go to AWA while they were doing that terrible thing that I bring up, the team challenge. And he had his own team. But yeah, because I've been watching him on NWA with I'm gonna have to help the guy Paul Jones, who I think is a terrible manager. Like his talking is as bad as mine. It's terrible.
He stumbled a lot, but they made him such a star.
They did. And in the beginning, like watching him, he's with people that like can talk for themselves, and I'm just like, why is he with them?
Well,
was it Manny Fernandez?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and then Manny Fernandez would start talking. And I'm like, why is Paul Jones even his manager?
Well,
and so
I can answer all those questions for you. Paul was a big star in his wrestling heyday in the Florida, Georgia, and Carolinas. And if you've ever seen him wrestle, some of the footage, it's not much of it out there from the 70s or the early 80s. He was a really good wrestler, very good wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
Never a strong promo. And, I know what the Indian Deathlock is because of Paul Jones, but Paul Jones was in tight with the Crockett office. And Jim Cornette has gone so far as to say that everybody knew Paul was a stooge. They liked him, but they knew he was a stooge. So the Crockett's kept him around and kept him in a feud with Jimmy Valiant Dusty kept him in a feud with Jimmy Valiant because he really didn't know what else to do with Jimmy Valiant. He thought if he could keep Jimmy happy because he was so over and keep Paul Jones happy to keep him in the mix with somebody because he was the office stooge, then it'd be best if they stayed with each other. And they feuded that started in 83 and ended at Starrcade 86. But Jimmy Valiant told me it was actually a 4-year-long feud. So I don't know where the other year came in. But
that makes sense because now that I've been watching again, I'm just like, he is terrible. And it's just terrible promos. Terrible promos.
He was like a robot, yelling robot.
Yeah.
And then who was it would just step right in front of him and start going? Who was that?
Fernandez.
I don't remember, but it was somebody just stepped right in front of him and just started doing their promo over top of him.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what,
then we were watching another one where Tim Horner was doing this terrible promo. Terrible. Could not get anything right. And Jimmy Valiant just came right in and just took it over. Just took the whole thing over. Mm-hmm. And it was hilarious.
Yeah, he could see that Tim Horner was drowning. So
Tim Horner's
he was coming from the ring. So Jimmy Valiant's like, here I come to the rescue. Let me save this promo.
Tim Horner was trying to get out about the 4 horsemen. He's like, the 4 horsemen, when Ric Flair's in there, all the other 3 come in and attack.
We're using a little too much emotion.
But other than, and then Jimmy Valiant just popped right in, lays the kiss on him, and then takes over the promo.
Talking to somebody who can really wrestle but can't talk. Tim Horner was one of them. So, he was a very good wrestler, but on the mic as good as he was at wrestling, that's how bad he was at promos.
But there was a lot of guys like that back then, because
Yeah,
I think the whole
Brad
promo
Armstrong.
and the big time TV was so new.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would come out of these little areas, like Memphis and Mid-South, which to them they weren't little areas, but when they come into the Carolinas, which covered North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, West Virginia, Virginia, Tennessee. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They called Memphis for a reason. But when they would come here and there was such a big, the TV was so much bigger and the production was so different. And I think it made them nervous.
Yeah.
Brad
I never
Armstrong
understood why they got so desperate that they fell back on Bob Armstrong.
Yeah. I mean, there's
a story behind that too.
They tried to push him really hard, but it just,
Well, they shit, I don't know if I should tell this one on the air, because I know why that happened, but it may be too much information and may wreck some wrestling fans' memories of that time. But it all had to do with the 87 Crockett Cup and what eventually happened in the semifinals at that show with Bob and Brad against Tully and Luger, if that kind of helps you out.
Well, I think Bob come as a package deal with Brad Armstrong.
You may have.
I love to watch Brad wrestle. He was phenomenal. I mean, we just watched a TV title match between him when they were doing the 25-minute, $10,000. It was Tully and Brad Armstrong, and it was one of the best matches I've ever seen. But you put Brad Armstrong on that mic, and it was like, I mean, maybe it's because I love the Road Dog. Just gonna throw it out there. I love the Road Dog so much. Love him. I love him in a non-kayfabe way. No, I'm just in a kayfabe way. I love him in a kayfabe way. But anyway, never mind. That's too much information. Anyway, big mark for him. He's so good on the mic. And so when I first started watching wrestling, when I stopped watching WCW and watching the Wolfpack, I went to Generation X. And so my wrestling was them, the Road Dog. And then now going back and watching the old stuff now that I'm older, and watching Brad and watching how great of a wrestler he was and how terrible he was on the mic, and how great Road Dog was on the mic and how not so great he was in the ring. It's like, too bad they couldn't have melded together and made one wrestler. You know what I'm saying? Or been a tag team, if Brad hadn't, passed away. So,
Rick Diesel, I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on, but your audio just went away for some reason. You're muted now. I can see you're muted. Try it again. We lost him.
No.
That's why we couldn't hear him, because it's audio. Brad Armstrong passed away from sleep apnea. And I want everybody else out there to look, man, if they tell you that you got sleep apnea, and I know that they want to put you on a CPAP machine and make you wear that mask, you fucking do it. Because Brad Armstrong was in good shape. He wasn't a big old fat guy like me who does it because of that. He was an athlete all his life, but he still had it. And he died way too soon because of sleep apnea. And so did Reggie White, the NFL player who got mixed up in wrestling there in the late 90s. So, that's every time I hear about Brad Armstrong, the conversation goes toward Brad Armstrong. I feel like it's important to say, look, if you got sleep apnea, get it treated, please.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
I mean, you stop breathing while you're sleeping.
Yeah. So Rick Diesel, can you talk to us now?
Very dangerous.
Nope.
No.
Reboot.
Clear cache and cookies. They're caching cookies. Well, while we wait on Rick Diesel to work on his thing, let me go ahead and pay some bills.
I'm gonna get some more water while he's doing that. Do you want a drink?
No, go on.
Okay. All right, let me start it up here. And of course, if you want to advertise this train wreck of a show, we've got you covered. It's only $10 a month for 30-second to 1 minute read, which I'll demonstrate here in just a second. Or if you want us to shoot a video commercial for you, we'd love to have you do that. And we take a week off every now and then. But Facebook, YouTube, all major podcasting platforms will hear your advertisement there, except for iHeartRadio. I need to put an X through that or take it out of the slide. But our podcast goes across all these platforms. And so we would love to have you a part of our team. And all you got to do is reach out to us at AIWF20@hotmail.com. Hit me up on social media or at the live events, and we'll talk turkey. And it goes a little something like this. Premier Auto Detailing is our newest sponsor, and they can make that old jalopy look like it just rolled off the showroom floor. All you have to do is call 336-883-5722 for more information. That's 336-883-5722. Premier Auto Detailing, they'll do personal jobs. You know, if you just can't get down to those nooks and crannies of the car like you used to could, you could reach out to them. And they do fleet service work too. So if you've got a car lot or, you know, you've got several vehicles that need cleaning, they are your one-stop shop, and they will get it looking brand new. Again, it's 336-883-7522, 336-883-7522. Tell them AIWF Ringside Wrestling sent you. Tees Creations Custom Apparel. Yes, they can put any kind of print on t-shirt, sweatshirt, hoodie. They make tumblers now, and they can help you out with any type of special customized print that you've got. They are making the official Capital Punishment Gang Wars shirt. You can pre-order those already by reaching out to them, and I'll give you the web address and all that information on the next slide. Not only do they do wrestling memorabilia, they can custom make just about any type of shirt that you would like, any type of design. You just reach out to them and tell them what you want, or they've got preloaded designs, as it were, that you can choose from. Their website is Tees Creations. It's no punctuation there, just Tees Creations, TSCreations22.com. teescreations22.com, or you can visit them on facebook.com/Tees Creations. That's Tees Creations on facebook.com. So be sure you check them out. And again, tell them that AIWF Ringside Wrestling sent you. Rick,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
My little blue light come back on. It was weird.
Your little blue light.
Yeah, on my little camera, the little blue light was off.
Oh, okay. So that must be an indicator that there was no sound.
I rebooted everything and done it. So I'm back.
Yes. So something big happened on a national wrestling program, kind of related to our promotion and Pure Pro Wrestling down in Danville, Virginia, and C4W, the old promotion in Myrtle Beach, as we had one of the Virginia boys, Hangman Adam Page, go up against one of the Myrtle Beach boys.
Yeah,
Wheeler Yuta, Friday night on AEW Rampage. And it was pretty cool, man. As soon as the show came on the air, Yuta hit Page with a drop kick, and they were off and running, man. I mean, the damn graphic hadn't even faded off the screen all the way yet, and they were going at it tooth and nail, and had quite the match. I would say for their experience level, they did pretty well for a first-time big TV match. You want to talk about a lot of pressure. I cannot imagine. Not only you're wrestling in front of that big crowd there at the building, you know, a few thousand people, but then you've got the pressure of being on national television. Did anybody watch the match? What did you think?
I watched part of it. I watched part of it just out of pride, you know, because both those guys really started out here. You know what I'm saying? And Wheeler Yuta, he's very proud to say so. Adam Page, he still does the, I guess, the standard answer. You know, I went through Boogie's camp and I done this and I done that. But Wheeler Yuta, God bless him, he's very proud to have come from AIWF. And Adam Page did too. I don't care who else lays claim to him. He did train at Boogie's, but he learned here.
Yeah.
And let's give Adam Page a little something else too. He went through PPW, Jimmy Love's promotion,
Yes.
and spent a lot of time there too. I saw some footage floating around the internet of one of him and Justin Flash's matches that took place at that promotion. And whoa, man, good stuff. So, but yeah, it's crazy. I'm friends with Wheeler Yuta on his personal Facebook page, from years ago. And no, I'm not going to give his name out on the air. So don't even hold your breath for that shit, because it ain't happening.
Hey, I just wish somebody, would help AEW get their hands on the Christmas video we done with him in it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I hate to do it to him, but come on, man. Everybody wants to do that.
He would get ribbed to no end by them older guys if they saw that. Can you imagine Jericho would tear him a new ass?
I know. Maybe they would show it on the big screen. You know what I'm saying? AEW, hey, Wheeler Yuta, here's you in a towel singing Jingle Bells.
When we posted that back before Christmas on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, another plug, one of the first comments that came on it was like, wow, man, Yuta looks so much different without his beard. And I was like, yeah, I know. Because the first time I saw him on TV, I was like, is that it is, and so, but anyway, Wheeler Yuta on his personal YouTube Facebook page posted a poster of that before the match went down on Friday night. And I always tease him. And I said, wow, the two gentlemen on that poster look very familiar, but I just can't put my finger on it. I like to give him a little bit of shit, man, just to remind him of where he came from, but he's he's a really nice guy. It kills me that Cornette hates him so much, because he is a good dude. And so
Cornette hates everybody. Oh, and by the way, AC's in the group. You can literally see when he types all the pride in his lettering.
I'm gonna say, is he typing or sending you smoke signals?
He's in there. He's a proud papa right now.
He should be. He should be.
I was gonna say he should be. Yeah.
A lot of good talent came through that promotion down there in Myrtle Beach.
Sure did.
Yeah. So anyway, they had another little event over the weekend. I don't know if you guys are aware of, but the Royal Rumble was this weekend, and it was from San Antonio, Texas. And I almost ended the meeting. Boy, if I'd have clicked on that, that would have been a disaster. But I don't know if you heard, Cody Rhodes is back. There he is doing the obligatory point at the WrestleMania sign. All these videos are of photos. God, man, this is just some night. All these photos are courtesy of WWE.com. And so I thought I would talk to you guys. Did anybody watch the Royal Rumble?
I watched it up until he walked through the curtain. And then just like everybody else, I was like, oh, okay, I know now, and left.
Yeah. Well, I didn't there weren't a lot of still images to take off the website of the Rumble itself. Brock Lesnar was in there. It had a lot of nice surprises. The crowd was really into it. And they had a huge crowd at the Alamo Dome last night. But let me run through some of the action just in case you didn't get to see it and are interested in it. Well, we had the very first Mountain Dew pitch black match, what basically meant it was LA Knight, as you can see him on his way to the ring against our good friend Bray Wyatt. And basically what it was a no DQ match, and it was lit with black lights. And so everything glowed. It was very unique looking. Look at that.
Cool.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool. It was different, and Bray Wyatt said in the post, they actually had a press conference afterward. He said he's really into doing things that other people have not done before. This was what I thought was really cool effect. Every time they crashed through something, these green, it looked like fireworks, would just explode out of everything all over the floor. And it was a really neat match. Not the match itself wasn't like, if you're looking for a catch as catch can classic, this was not it. But if you're looking for something that's really aesthetically pleasing and different, and if you like to smoke weed, this was like a wrestling lava lamp, like life size. You could have kept your attention for days and days at a time. This was your match.
It's like the fight scene in Batman Forever.
Yeah. I had to think about that one for a minute, but yeah. But everything looked really good.
But why?
Why? Because of the day glow.
No.
The fight scene in
why?
Batman Forever, they were in day glow.
I get
Wait,
that.
why? Huh?
But why? Why did they do this to this match? What was they trying to
Because
cover
it was
up?
named after a Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's trying to pitch product.
Pitchback Mountain Dew. The
Yeah.
purple Mountain Dew. Are you trying to pull something that I'm not getting?
Yeah, I want to know why. Yeah, okay.
He doesn't
No,
get
I didn't.
the-
I mean, what was the purpose of the match?
Settle
What
a
was the
feud.
purpose of the concept of the match? I mean, so
Because
they was kissing up to a sponsor.
Yeah.
They wasn't trying to
Basically,
cover
yes.
up the fact that they figured these two guys would just suck, so they better turn all the lights out and let them glow.
No, but I don't watch WWE. No, I don't. Yeah, because I spend all my time watching old stuff. But to me, I think that's aesthetically pleasing to look at. It kind of goes with Bray Wyatt's Firefly gimmicks of having the lights out, coming out, everybody having their phones out. So it kind of goes along with his gimmick of being in the darkness and coming out of the darkness. I mean, yes, it is going along with a sponsor, but picking Bray Wyatt to go with it goes along with his gimmick.
So is this what our business is coming to now? Aesthetically pleasing to look at?
Why not?
Well,
Kevin Nash is aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's why he's a
I meant
wrestler.
match-wise. I mean, are we getting away from two guys beating the hell out of each other so
Oh,
they can have a glow party?
wait a minute now. They beat the hell out of each other. I didn't, I don't want to imply that they didn't. It was just some cool lighting effects. There was a wrestling match all in the middle of all of this shit. I promise you. It wasn't the greatest, but it happened. And then
to
Go
me,
ahead.
it's one of those things where, because it's them trying something new with the look during a match,
yep.
and it may end up working. They may do it some more, and they may not. They're just trying something new. Like there were people when wrestlers first started coming to the ring playing music, they were like, "What is this?
This is killing the
not-
business.
Right? This
Killing
is
the
not."
business.
And look, that guy's not wearing black trunks. He's wearing red trunks. He looks like a clown. He looks ridiculous. It's just, like, and again, and maybe they are going too far, and maybe they shouldn't be doing it during the match. Maybe do it during the entrance. But
That Johnny
I
Depp?
don't think it hurts to try different things and just to see if it works. Just like with the team challenge. The team challenge was a disaster, but I think what mistake they made is they kept doing
And
it.
it's complicated.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying new things, but when you keep trying it and it's just not working, and you just still keep trying to do it when it's obviously not working, that's when it's a problem. There's nothing wrong with trying new things, but it's trying new things and failing, but then just keeping with your idea just to see if it'll stick.
I mean, the same could be said for when people transitioned from trunks to blue jeans and t-shirts. Blue
And
jean
evidently
cut off.
high-top tennis shoes.
In the 90s,
Huh?
And evidently high-top tennis shoes now is
I know.
appropriate.
Or cut off jean shorts and rock t-shirts.
Brian.
Right.
No, just in case this ever
Mays, Pagan.
Just in case this ever gets back to Rudy Boy Gonzalez, I'm not throwing off on the guys who've made it. It's just I feel like a glow party match. I feel like it cheapens the match.
It
For the
did.
fact that they're focusing more on the theatrics Does that make sense? Than they are the wrestling. And it's
I
okay.
agree. Well, hold up. I agree. But here's the thing. There's a couple of things that work here. Number one, last night in the post-match presser, Triple H was real particular about thanking the sponsors for the show. Mountain Dew Pitch Black, Applebee's, he mentioned. So I think that as the landscape is changing for national promotions, not to defend this match because it was not a good wrestling match, it was just fun to look at, but they're not live attendance driven anymore with the TV wrestling. It's all driven by ratings and sponsors. That's where they make the bulk of their money. Anything that they make at the live events is a great. You know, I'm glad we did well on the house tonight, but those TV contracts, that's where their bread is really buttered. And if they've got a sponsor like Mountain Dew saying, hey, we'll give you $20 million if you make a special match for the Royal Rumble, you think they're going to say no? They're going to figure something out.
It's true. Did AEW do a match where somebody got threw into some liquid? I saw that picture on Twitter. Was that at an All Out or an All Out?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I know they tried to blow up the ring one time, and that went horribly wrong.
I saw some pictures where they looked like there was, but I don't know if those were real pictures, and I don't follow enough to know. So if somebody knows, please tell me, because I would like to know. But like, was this any dumber than that when it was the Dungeon of Doom and they had that?
Oh God, no.
That
Poor King Curtis.
Yeah.
That what was his name? The Master.
Yeah, the Dungeon. Yeah, King Curtis done that gimmick.
What? Yeah. I mean, or that match where they were in, where it was the cages and they had to come down. Like, there's been gimmick matches. I mean, and to tell you the truth, is it any dumber than Jim Cornette taking that bump off the scaffolding like he did? I mean, there's
Big
been bad ideas.
And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the AIWF has been around for 31 years. And we've done it by adapting to the trends. So I guess maybe I'm not so much throwing off on the match, or am I asking, should we go invest in black lights?
No.
Are we mad that we didn't do it first?
No.
Yeah, because we've done a lot of things first.
A lumber clown match comes to mind. But no, I think, you know, they tried it. It wasn't a great match, but we got to see Uncle Howdy, who I'm suspicious is Bo Dallas, jump off the top of that thing and put LA Knight through the stage, and then everything burst into flames all around there, which didn't make any sense whatsoever. But again, was pretty damn cool.
Santa Claus laying with his legs sticking out of the.
No, that's poor LA Knight, who is a fantastic wrestler, but I don't know. After this is over with, I don't know what they're going to do with him. But look, anyway, after that, they got back to regular wrestling. We had Alexa Bliss taking on Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title, which was a pretty good match, but a short one. And Bianca ended up coming out on top, as most people figured she would. Congratulations to her. But then another Bray Wyatt tie-in as Alexa Bliss is sulking. If you can see up there on the big screen, it's a little fuzzy in this picture, but that was the little Firefly logo. And so I think Alexa Bliss is going to be joining back up with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy and the rest of the Wyatt family before too long. We'll see. And certainly one of the biggest stories of the night was this lady right here I think she's from Australia originally. Rhea Ripley started number 1 in the Women's Royal Rumble and won the son of a bitch. She started at number 1 and went start to finish. Incredible athlete this woman is. I mean, she could beat up most men in the WWE, I believe. She's one tough bastard. I'll just tell you that. I mean, despite the evil things her and the Judgment Day are doing, she was able to outlast that, and that set a record for the women's Royal Rumble. She was over an hour and so many seconds. And then what's her name? The New Jersey chick, little tiny New Jersey, I can't think of her name. Liv Morgan was also over an hour. and Asuka was doing a tribute to the Great Muta last night. Was the third one in there at the end, and she had been in there over 30 minutes. So these women these days have got Ric Flair like cardio from like the 80s. It is incredible what they did. And there was, look, Gunther in the men's Royal Rumble went the entire way. He was thrown out. He came in number 1. Sheamus came in number 2. They both lasted till right up to the end when Cody Rhodes eliminated them. So people that think that these people are not athletes and highly conditioned athletes, you're wrong. I dare you. Most fights, like if you get in a fight in a bar, last 30 seconds or a minute. You go in that ring and be in combat constantly for an hour is an incredible feat. And all three of you actually wrestled. You can speak to that better than I can.
Oh yeah, it is. It's very very physically taxing. Like, in my prime, I could do full court basketball for an hour easily, but you get in a wrestling ring after 2 minutes, you have to. That's a lot of people don't realize how much you have to pace yourself. They're like, why isn't he going after him? Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? You have to conserve your energy or you'll gas yourself out in 30 seconds. Because you're picking somebody up, throwing them around. It takes a lot of energy and strength to do that.
And when you hit that mat over and over again, I mean, that takes it out of you. I mean, it's not just like what you're doing, it's what's being done to you. I mean, and it's taxing. And there's been plenty of times that I'd come to the back and just throw myself down, thinking, that's it, I'm dying. That's it, I'm done. I'm dying.
I don't know if you've seen it, Reagan, but somebody said that Orange Cassidy threw Chris Jericho into a pool of orange juice.
Okay, yeah.
And get back to what you said. Yeah, I mean, it's not just getting in there and running. I mean, there's a lot of physical exertion too. And like Reagan said, when you hit that mat, you lose all that air. It's hard to get it all back very quickly. So it's not just like you're out jogging or running sprints. This is running sprints with somebody hitting you with basketballs.
Yeah. And Rhea Ripley, I just noticed something in this photo. If you look closely, she wears those big old hoop earrings, the ones that stretch out your lobe and everything. Look at that. She doesn't have them in because she's out there wrestling, so she's not wearing jewelry.
Good for her.
Note to young wrestlers.
Follow
her lead. Do not wear jewelry in the ring. But because I see that done and it drives me crazy, even in the big TV leagues that oh man, I just remember what Jumpin' Jimmy did to Techno Dragon when he found out he was wearing jewelry. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember what Rick Diesel did to Brooks when he found out that his nipples were pierced.
He was proud of them till he got in there with me.
That
tape ain't gonna help you, brother. But I mean, there was a time when it was like really forbidden. Back when we first come in, it was like forbidden to wear jewelry in the ring. Just because it was just, it was tacky back then in everybody's eyes. Plus, it was very dangerous.
I would even take off my wedding ring.
Yeah, you should.
That, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so kudos to her. The main event, of course, was Kevin Owens taking on the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, who there's been issues with Roman not really trusting Sami Zayn over the last few weeks. And they even had a trial for him on Raw, and Paul Heyman was the prosecuting attorney, and so on and so forth. But anyway, they had the match. Kevin Owens flying around. It was a pretty good match. Owens was overmatched by Reigns. That became apparent about 10 minutes into it.
I saw a very funny sign that I saw on the internet.
Oh, I thought it was in this picture. Okay.
No. It would not be on W. It was filthy. It was a play on words for tribal chief. Can I say it?
Yes.
Can I say pretty watch anything, it said tribal queef.
That's funny. But anyway, this was
I don't know who. I wish I could give credit to who did it, but I can't. So
this was pretty much the beginning of the end. Roman slammed Kevin Owens' head into the steel stairs, hit him with the spear. 1, 2, 3. Roman retains. As you can see, Sammy kind of looks like he's not sure that, you know, this is the greatest thing ever. So anyway, as far as the Usos and Solo were concerned, Sammy had proven himself by not conspiring with Kevin Owens to overthrow the tribal chief. And just as Jay was about to place the lei across Sammy's neck and make him a member of the family of the bloodline, Roman said, wait a minute. And he asked Paul Heyman for handcuffs, and Brian Danzig being tied to a cross and Stewart comes to mind anytime I see something like this. Because I was sitting there watching it last night going, damn. And that's like looking, I was like, and I started thinking of Brian and the Stewart incident and the audible gasp. And so I call this photo the crucifixion of Kevin Owens. And buddy, it was rough. Before they even handcuffed him, they hit him with every finishing move all of them's ever done in their careers, and then proceeded to kick him several times, drop kick him some more while he was handcuffed. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever even seen a 4 horsemen back in the old days put an ass whooping on somebody like they did Kevin Owens last night. It was rough. Then it went on for several minutes. And so Roman was going to finish him off, you know, and smash his head like an eggplant with the chair. But Sami Zayn asked him to hold up. He said, tribal chief, this is beneath you. Don't do this. And Roman was like, yeah, you're right. It is beneath me. Here, you do it. And so, of course, if you could see Paul Heyman on the left of your screen, just, you know, he's loving this. But then something happened that some of us were expecting, and not me. I thought the internet was full of shit, and I did not think this was going to happen. But when Roman Reigns turned his back to berate Kevin Owens and left Sami Zayn alone with the chair, whammo, he turns on the tribal chief and hits him with the chair. And, of course, then Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa attack Sami Zayn. And as you can see, fans, and look closely at this photo, this kick is so hard by Jimmy Uso. If you look at Paul Heyman in the background, he could actually feel the force of the kick, although he's 3 feet away. Look at his face. Unreal. And then Sammy
moved his jowls.
Yes, it did. He looked like somebody.
Doesn't take much, though, to be fair. Jowls.
Yeah, he's like he kind of in that photo looked like he was doing a Richard Nixon impersonation. You know, I am not a crook. But those of you on audio, you just know you don't know. But then Solo Sikoa hit Sammy with the spike. You can see another good expression from Paul Heyman, and Jey Uso left. Actually, he did not take part in this beating because he's heartbroken over this. So he left the ring, and then something that happened that I never thought would happen on WWE TV. As Roman Reigns tore up the lei and dropped the flowers on Sami Zayn's fallen carcass, a chant starts coming out of the Alamo Dome. And I don't mean like a dozen people at ringside. I'm talking probably about a third of the crowd, and they start chanting, "Fuck you, Roman." And then the clap, "Fuck you, Roman." And Peacock did not try to censor it, and they have not taken it off the recording. I watched it again this morning to see if they'd removed it. They have not as of yet. I mean, it was something. I mean, they had nuclear heat going off that thing, and it broke the damn internet last night. It was, if you've got Peacock fans out there, I cannot encourage you to go back. If you don't want to watch anything else but the last 15 minutes of that show, it is well worth it for the ending of that match and what's transpired after. It was absolutely incredible. And I never in my life thought I would see something like that happen at a WWE show. But to get that kind of reaction, not so much that happened, but get that kind of reaction, just so visceral from the fans, like it was when I was a little kid, especially in a city like San Antonio. If that happened in Charlotte, yes, I would have expected that reaction. Not with the foul language, though, because I don't think a Charlotte crowd would flagrantly cuss somebody like that. But then again, they were in Texas. They were in San Antonio. So you would think that they would be a little more polite too, but they were hot. They were really angry. And it made me feel good, man, because we sit here and a lot knock modern wrestling, but there was nothing to knock about that whole situation. It was just perfectly done, you know. And I'm just sitting there watching the last few minutes of the show, like, and I heard that from the crowd.
It's good when something comes together like that.
Yes.
It's good for the
Well,
business
again,
as a whole.
Yeah, it's like I haven't been watching it, but I had been following the storyline on Twitter and just seeing the build up and knowing that it was going to blow up.
Yeah.
But just seeing the build up, you know, when is this going to happen? When is it going to happen? And then there would be conflict between one of the Usos and Sammy. And you're okay. Is this where the blow up's going to happen? And it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kept building and building. So yeah, they did a really good job with this whole thing, and the payoff just worked out perfectly. I mean, you couldn't have asked for, you know, when if you're wanting Roman Reigns to be hated, then
this did the trick. Yeah, this did the trick. You know, because the problem
and it's something hard to do now. You know, to in wrestling to have somebody that hated. But yeah, they did it. They did it just right. My hat's off to them. They really pulled it off. They built it up perfectly and executed the ending flawlessly. So,
well, the thing that I liked about it was that Roman Reigns was talking to Sami Zayn the whole time while he was trying to convince him to hit Owens with the chair. And he was saying stuff like, do you remember when you first came here? Remember how he turned on you? Remember how he's been holding you back his entire career? Everything that Roman said to him was like that little devil whispering in your ear, trying to get you to do something bad, but he wasn't saying anything that wasn't true. And that's what made it so compelling. And if you go back, and think about this whole bloodline thing started during the pandemic, during the wrestling inside the room with the TVs, whatever they call it, Thunderdome, when everybody stopped watching wrestling, right? And I would still watch the pay-per-views because I was compelled by like Roman Reigns and him trying to bring Jey Uso into the fold. And then when Jimmy came back from injury, brought him in, but like he was having to beat the crap out of him to get him to come in and join the bloodline. And he kept telling him, if you join up with me, you'll be champions, And everything that Roman said came true, and the bloodline got bigger and bigger. And I think that when wrestling came back out of the pandemic and we could actually start going to live events again, everybody was just so happy to be back at wrestling that here's the bloodline. That's the world champion. We remember the Usos from before we had to go indoors, and they were a beloved tag team. Let's cheer for these guys. And so then they brought in Sami Zayn, and they got even more popular, even though you're supposed to be booing them because they're bad guys. They still got these guys that you like. You know, it's like, remember the Horsemen back in the old days? I never had a problem. I liked Flair because he was big and boisterous and everything. I liked Arn Anderson because he always told the truth. Ole seemed like my Uncle Carl from Ohio, just, you know, mean and drunk. But Tully Blanchard, I hated his ass. Right. And they did that, but with Roman Reigns as the centerpiece, with that that blasting cap, and they turned that crowd last night. It was beautiful. You know, it was just a thing. It was something, man. Everybody left there hating Roman Reigns. Didn't feel like, and I was glad I wasn't there because I didn't feel like I was in danger. Like when Jack jerked up Rose Tyson that night, and Trista came flying over my right shoulder. I was glad I was watching on TV, right? No physical danger.
That was kind of our the bloodline thing.
Yes, it was.
That worked out really
well. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. And I have a feeling it's going to happen again if Rose Tyson don't keep her nose out of everybody's business. I hope she takes note of that.
She's getting a little mouthy.
Yes, she is, and you know.
Well, and again, you know, it's one of those things where it's one thing to take a kid that is outside of the ring, drag them into the ring, and choke them out. If they're placing themselves in the ring, they're putting themselves in danger. I mean, you still shouldn't like attack a kid or anything, but at the same time, if you're going to put yourself in the ring, it's you're kind of not putting all the blame. You can't really put all the blame on the opponent. When they're putting themselves in that danger themselves.
Yeah, if you're not a trained wrestler, you got no business being in the ring. And I will cite this example. You should not get in the ring under any circumstance. 2003 Survivor Series. Mark Cuban gets into the ring to argue with Eric Bischoff, and Randy Orton puts him in an RKO for no reason, just because he was in the ring, and Randy Orton didn't think he should be there. So you get in the ring, you're not trained. Somebody comes and DDTs you, don't come crying. You had it coming.
Yeah, wrestlers are very territorial when it comes to the ring. They're like, this is my house. If you come in here, you may not walk out.
Yeah. Look, there was a time when it was such a small club, and it was a exclusive club, and if you wasn't trained, if you hadn't been brought into the club, you didn't have no right to be in there. It was where we done our business. It was where we done we applied our craft. You know what I'm saying? It was where we painted our pictures for the fans. And if you wasn't part of the club, you didn't. And I still feel that same way today. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's why I have a big problem with, these celebrities and all this crap that wants to come out and get involved in the matches. I think it cheapens the product. What good does it do? What good does it do to goddamn spend all the time and money to train as a professional wrestler if somebody who was in a movie is going to be able to come out there and get in your ring and step on your toes and become just walk in to the place where you do your business and they're just allowed to just because they was in a movie? Then that cheapens you. That makes you look less of a professional. It makes you look less of an athlete. It's just, there's no reason for it. And I don't like it. I've never liked it. Liberace, I think he come out and done a damn can dance at one of the WrestleManias. I guess
at the first one. At the first one, but Liberace was a guest timekeeper. He got in the ring, waved to the crowd, did a few kicks with the Rockettes, and got the fuck out of there.
Right, that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have celebrities coming in and getting up in somebody's face. It's fuck you, Mr. T. I don't give a shit how many goddamn chains you got around your neck. You didn't belong in a match.
I'm gonna tell you what, Roddy Piper hated that motherfucker till the day he died, and
he was terrible. Yeah. And he was a waste. It was a waste. The one thing I absolutely hated about WCW was them bringing in them big dumb fucking football players. Like, who wants to watch that guy? There was the guy from the Carolina Panthers that came in. There was
Dennis Rodman.
Well, the Dennis Rodman thing was terrible. He was terrible. Yeah. All those and I'm even going to say it even though he's on his deathbed. Mongo McMichael was terrible. He was the worst horseman ever. People are going to say Paul Roma. I'll go to my grave saying it was Mongo McMichael.
I agree with you.
Showed up to John Boy and Billy drunk one morning.
Paul Roma was an actual wrestler.
Yeah. But I mean, they're always been like that, because it wasn't like back in the 60s and 50s where you played football, you trained to be a wrestler. On the off season, you were a wrestler. Then football gets going, and you go play football because you only make $10,000 a year or less playing football. And then football's over, and you've been trained. You're a trained wrestler, and then you go and wrestle for that few months, and then you go back and play football. It's not like that anymore. Now you had these football players coming in who couldn't do anything but a tackle and a clothesline and got in there, and it was just terrible. And WCW loved them. They loved bringing in them football players. And then
good and well, they didn't take them down to the power plant and give them any training. They didn't take them down to the power plant and give them any training.
It's not a problem bringing in a football player. Let them train, train them, and get them to where they know what they're doing. But they just get in too big of a hurry.
I'm gonna tell you, personal story. Won't say the person's name. Won't say the person's organization. Won't say I would just say that I had to work a tag team match against a sheriff in a county that was not trained. Do you remember that?
A sheriff. You had to wrestle a sheriff?
Yeah, I had to wrestle a sheriff in a county. You don't remember this?
No.
It was at a certain person's other organization that drew a bunch of people away from this organization by saying he was going to pay, but he didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Well, do you remember?
Yeah, so I mean, even like the little independents will do it like that, like bring it, and it's terrible to wrestle somebody, first of all, that's a sheriff. Second of all, like, who's never been even put into the ring to know how to do anything, because it puts your life on the line and it puts their life on the line. Because wrestling is not a joke. It is not a play thing. It is a serious thing, and you can break your neck wrestling. I mean,
now, I remember one time in Bradshaw, West Virginia, I got in there with the police chief.
Mm-hmm. I remember
but we done it right. You know, he basically threw me around a little bit, and they put us in handcuffs and took us away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, but you tried to grab his service weapon.
Yeah, I also tried to grab his gun and shoot everybody in the building.
Yeah,
but you know.
Well, you did grab it. It came out of the holster. You had it, and you got about a quarter way around the ring before the deputies got you. But I'll never forget that Rick Diesel holding that thing straight up in the air.
There's a picture of that somewhere.
We actually added realism into it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have these, like you said, a football player come in and do football moves to the top star and make the guy look like crap, which is what they do now, and what WCW, like you said, was horrible at. The whole
you know what though?
Dennis Rodman thing was.
Yeah,
so
that was
sad.
bad. And the Jay Leno thing too. That was bad. But I will tell you this, during that whole football player thing, they had a match. It was Slamboree 97. You can watch it on Peacock. There was a match between Reggie White and Mongo, right? Down at the Bojangles Coliseum, what they call it now. I was there. And yes, when you watch the show, you're going to know why it was the most popular match of the night. But those two football players getting in there, and we could tell Reggie White had no idea what he was doing, got the biggest reaction from that crowd that night. And Charlotte is a wrestling city. You know why? Because the rest of that card was fucking terrible. And that was 97 when WCW was at its peak, but there was no Hogan.
Was Reggie White Carolina Panther?
No.
Kevin Green is the one you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Kevin Green.
Okay, I see who Reggie White is now. Never mind.
Yeah,
we saw.
I did see that one just recently.
You're thinking of Kevin Green, and
he was terrible.
Yeah, he was a terrible wrestler, but he loved it. I mean, he's always spoke highly of his time in wrestling. Even though, like, after he had like one or two matches, and then I can't remember if he was playing for the Steelers or the Panthers or the 49ers at the time. But whoever his team was, they saw Ric Flair clip his knee in a match, and they were like, "Dude, you can't. No. If you do that again, you're in violation of your contract." And so,
I'm gonna say something controversial though. Here it
Right.
comes. Okay, David Arquette, one hell of a worker.
Let me tell you something. The greatest wrestling documentary in the history of the world is You Can't Kill David Arquette. If you haven't
seen that yet. I need to watch it.
got to watch it. Is the greatest wrestling documentary in the history.
I mean,
of
I've
wrestling.
watched clips of his matches. He is a phenomenal wrestler now.
They take him. The whole documentary is him trying to get his respect in wrestling back after the fiasco Eric Bischoff done with him, and he goes through. And there's people on there that we know.
Yeah.
When he goes through Virginia, there's guys on there that we know.
But David Arquette took a light bulb to the throat and almost died.
And
So,
halfway to the locker room and turned around and went back and finished the damn match. He was bleeding to death and he finished the goddamn match.
Who's the other Holly?
Crash?
The one who slit his back open on a. Okay, yes.
That was Holly and Rob Van.
Yeah,
Dam.
remember they put him through a chair. He sliced open his entire back.
Yeah.
On a WWE show.
Yeah, I know.
So yes, and Brian and I said we don't like light bulbs. So but light bulbs are used everywhere.
Yeah,
you know,
in light fixtures where they belong,
right
in a wrestling match.
Right.
I'm sorry. If you get in the ring,
I agree.
If you get in the ring and fall on a pile of if you get in the ring and fall on a fucking pile of fluorescent light bulbs and then start a GoFundMe campaign to help you pay your hospital bills, I'm probably not going to donate. Because that was really stupid.
Beside the point of the wrestlers getting in there and going through light bulbs, they do what the hell they want to, but the fans are at risk. Those little shards of light bulb flying through the building could get in a kid's eye, anybody's eye. I mean, because that stuff ain't just contained to the ring when it explodes.
Yeah, and it's in all that mercury.
Poison.
Yeah,
they're filled with poison.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main ingredients in fluorescent bulbs is mercury, and that powder, goes everywhere. I still remember that night in Reedsville, Rick Diesel, where the Drive brothers had that match and busted all those. They came out, they were fighting at ringside right in front of the announce table where Charles Rourke was that night. We were trying to convince him to do a wrestling TV show with us. And this dude winds up like he's left-handed swinging a baseball at a dash or a cannonballers game. And they have about a dozen light tubes taped together. And when he hits the other guy, it's this big explosion and freaking cloud of mercury goes up. And this is during the summertime. So guess what? We got fans on. And it blew that stuff all over the building. Like I remember turning around and ducking like I was doing one of them old 50s nuclear bomb drills, duck and cover. You don't
have to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do that to get a reaction out of the crowd. Well, maybe somebody does. There may be people out there that can't get a reaction out of the crowd without doing that.
Yeah.
But there's other ways. I mean,
because it's cheap and easy. It's cheap and easy.
Cheap and easy. It's a cheap, easy way out.
It doesn't take any skill to mutilate yourself. If you can have a Dusty Rhodes, Tully Blanchard ropes wrapped in barbed wire or no ropes barbed wire match, Rick Diesel, Brian Danzig, and nobody go to the hospital, that's a skill to me. If you can have a wrestling match. Well, what? Oh, Brian did go to the hospital. That's right. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Deal.
But nobody got poisoned.
Yeah, nobody got poisoned. Nobody lost their limbs.
That's what I'm saying. If it were just the glass, if it were just like I've gone through glass before. I've gone through plate glass several times, and
I think I was there for one of those.
My arms got cut up some. My back, not a big deal. I can handle cuts. It's not a it hurts, but it's not that big of a deal to get cut. I'm not concerned about getting cut. I'm concerned about getting mercury poisoning.
Yeah.
Right.
Light bulbs.
And like I said, the little shards of glass. If you've ever swept up after a light bulb thing, they're everywhere. And they don't come out. They don't come out of the mat. They don't come out of that. You find them for 2 or 3 shows later.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you run the same building like we do, they're everywhere. Because we had somebody use them in a show last year, and it was like, oh my God, it's like these freaking things are everywhere 2 shows later.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's ridiculous.
I remember that because the first time the first time they were used, I felt the glass hit me in the face. And so when they go to do it the second time, I cover my face, and then I feel the glass hitting my hands.
Right.
As I'm sitting there, and I'm like, glad I got my face covered. That glass would have went right in my
makes
eye.
a loud noise. It makes a big smoke poof, and that excites the wrestlers that's doing it because they think they're doing something big, but they're not.
Yeah.
Well, and again, like I said, if it wasn't, it's just like I said, I've done things that other people consider cheap, like the barbed wire, fire, thumbtacks, things like that. But again, like I said, all those things, they're not going to poison me. They're not going to send mercury into my bloodstream or in my lungs.
Yeah, and they're not going to injure your paying customers either.
Right, exactly. They're just going to, if anybody gets injured, it's going to be me. It's not going to be anybody in the audience. So that's my issue with it. If the fluorescent light bulbs could be used in a safe way, or relatively safe,
Right.
as safe as barbed wire and thumbtacks,
Yeah.
then sure, I would be all for it. But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I know what's in those things. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
People I'm not going to, again, name names about anything, but I just sent Rick a message about people getting carried away when they just kind of fall in to hardcore wrestling without the proper background in it.
Yeah.
It's like they get these grandiose feelings and these grandiose ideas, and they don't think it through, and everybody gets hurt. It's like hardcore wrestling, if you do it correctly, is still a technique. There's still a way to do it. There's still a way to be trained to do it. There's a way to learn to do it. It's not just going out there throwing yourself around into stuff. Yeah. You have to know how to do it. You have to know how to present it. You have to know how to deal with it, or you're going to get badly injured.
Well, you have to think of it like this. For years, these guys and generation or two before them were told hardcore is easy. That's the easy way out. It's cheap pop. It's guys who don't really know what they're doing. They do hardcore. And so they're like, oh, well, I'm a trained wrestler. I know what I'm doing. So of course I'll be able to do hardcore because those are the guys that don't even know what they're doing. It's like, no, you have to learn, just like you learned how to do a hammerlock properly. You also have to learn how to fall into barbed wire properly. Mm. And they don't think you have to do that.
And to know what barbed wire is appropriate to use in a match, what thumbtacks are appropriate to use in a match, what type of glass is appropriate to use in a match. I mean, I guess this is kind of breaking kayfabe a little bit.
Yes, a little too much.
Well, the thing about it is, there's so many guys out there today that take so much pride in their backs being mutilated into hamburger. They love to show it on Facebook. I'm sure you've seen it. These guys are like, oh, I had this hardcore match. Look at my back. And it's just tore all to pieces. You know what I'm saying?
When we started the Instagram page, we had a picture of Ty Tyson and Kevin Stryker, showing off the damage they had done in a hardcore match to their backs. So
I'm not going to say a lot, but I learned how to not make my forehead look like Dusty Rhodes.
Right.
Because I had a shoot job, and I have a shoot job now that I can't have a forehead that looks like Dusty Rhodes. So I learned and was trained how to to not have a forehead like that.
Yep.
But also,
so that's something you learn and train.
But also, in Dusty Rhodes' day, Abdullah's day, it looked better to have a forehead that looked like they went out of their way to have a forehead that looked
but
like
I'm saying if you look at his versus he has more time in, but I had similar things happen to me in my career, but you don't have, I learned, well, I don't want to break too much kayfabe, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah. If they don't
But
know,
I
they
was
don't know.
trained how to do it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yep.
So.
Yep. Let's see. I need to do another round of ads real quick here. So let me do that. And we'll take this brief time out to hear from our sponsor. And of course, our first sponsor was and still is Branch Management. They are a tree service that operates out of the Mount Airy, Surry County area. And they can help you with branches that are maybe too close to structures, normal pruning, or complete tree removal. They offer very competitive rates and are here to serve you. You may also be eligible for a $100 referral bonus. All you got to do is pick up the phone and give them a call for the tree service at 336-648-9282 or 336-320-8994. I'll give you those numbers one more time for those of you listening. 336-648-9282 or 336-320-8994 and ask about that $100 referral bonus. Also, Branch Management does general landscaping, contracting, and pressure washing, gutter cleaning, that type of work. If you need some of that kind of work done, please reach out to them at 336-648-2487. That number again, 336-648-2487 for the landscaping and the pressure washing and the general contracting. And be sure to tell them that AIWF Ringside Wrestling sent you. And finally, our most delicious sponsor, Tees Treats, the best concessions in wrestling. Prove me wrong. I dare you. Look them up at facebook.com/Tees Treats for the latest schedule updates. Rick Diesel, where is Tees Treats, if anywhere? I know it's still wintertime. Have they got anything on their docket this week?
Nothing this week, but it's coming.
All right. Locally owned food truck based in Mount Airy. Great pizza, delicious dogs, and decadent desserts. And the mini donuts, which is a fascinating little machine to see operate. I just think it's so cool. They're available for any event, music festivals, athletic tournaments, street festivals, wrestling matches, mostly ours. But you can give them a call at 336-755-8204. 336-755-8204. So if you like you're having a community flea market, something like that, you want a food truck there, give these guys a call, man. They're really freaking good. I can't tell you strongly enough. And trust me, when you look at me, you know I like to eat. And trust me, they are good. Best concessions in wrestling. They are Tees Treats, and they are our most delicious sponsor, and we want to thank them so much for all they do for the show. All right.
Oh, and hey, right quick, Matt, to the person who asked me, sent me a message earlier that asked me, they said they see me yawning. Want to know if I was bored? No, I'm old, and this is a very comfortable chair.
Yeah. Another board. Yeah. So anyway,
I ain't never bored.
But let's see. So we got the footage from Seasons Beatings going to be premiering on YouTube. I don't know when we're going to have some more videos from you from our past show heading up.
Won't be long.
Yeah, it won't be long.
Got to stretch it out. We still got right much time between now and our next show.
Yeah, I was going to.
We don't want to run out of footage.
Yep. Well, don't worry. I've got tons more. It's just the stuff I have is the same as you got. It's just from a different angle. So we got to figure out how to distribute it. But anyway, again, thanks for all the support for all our social media platforms, especially the YouTube channel, which is just doing great for promotion our side. I can't thank you enough. And I see you, India. I appreciate it. And I love you and I thank you for it. So so we've talked about a lot. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Because we are, whoa, boy, we are way over.
Yeah, I know.
Getting late.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, I'm yawning. You can tell it's getting late.
Because he's old, not because he's bored.
Any old wrestler you want me to learn some trivia about, or you just want me to be random?
I tell you what, if there's any trivia you want to know, come on the show next week and ask Reagan questions in the chat room there, or whatever it is they call it, in the comments. And she'll answer them for you as best she can. If she can't, Matt will. I promise.
I'm just gonna say, sometimes I can remember names and sometimes I can't. It just depends on the night.
Hey, so on this night in 1985, Jim Crockett Promotions shot TV in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Would you like to hear this impeccable card?
Mm-hmm.
Don Kernodle beat Ivan Koloff. Ricky Steamboat and Magnum TA versus Frank Lang and Joe Young. It doesn't say who won, but I don't have to think too hard on that. Don Kernodle and Rocky Kernodle versus Doug Vines and Ben Alexander. Billy Graham versus Ron Rossi. Oh, I'm sure that was awesome. Manny Fernandez versus Joel Deaton. Dick Slater versus the Inferno. Oh man, that Inferno, boy, he lit some fire. He lit some fires.
Yes, he did.
Ivan and Nikita Koloff versus Gene Ligon and Lee Ramsey. Ooh, I bet you that did not go well for Gene Ligon. Gene Ligon, believe it or not, also not only did he was he an enhancement talent or job guy as they called him back then, he also refereed from time to time. He was the one that came into the ring after Tommy Young got knocked out at Starrcade 85 and actually counted 3 for Dusty to win the title, which was reversed. So that's an interesting piece of trivia for you there. He was also the referee the night Ric Flair won the title back from Dusty in August of 1986 out in St. Louis or Kansas City one. Let's see. There was a television taping. This was a television taping advertised to include Ric Flair, Dick Slater, the Barbarian, Manny Fernandez, Buzz Tyler, Magnum TA, Wahoo McDaniel, Tully Blanchard, and Nikita Koloff. So that was at the beginning of 85. So Wahoo would have still been U.S. champion, just getting his thing with Magnum kicked off at that time. So just thought y'all find that interesting. And if anybody wants to know where I got that from, it's from this lovely book.
Ooh, I want that. Where'd you get that at?
Amazon.
Ooh.
It's written by Mark James, and he's written several other wrestling books. So, oh yeah, plug that one too. That we'd actually know this guy.
Great Tungsten, Body Slams, Beef Jerky, and Beer. Also on Amazon. Talks a lot about the AIWF Mid-Atlantic in it. Get it today.
Yeah, I could show you off my book collection. I've got some books by Dick Bourne. I've got Wahoo's biography. I mean, it's just so much so that I can't read them all. I've got a record book like this from Mid-South from 1979 until they closed. So
Wow.
yeah.
Hey, we heard a lot of Wahoo's biography sitting at Andre the Giant's ranch as he was drunk and rambling on one night.
Well,
We heard it straight from the chief's mouth.
Tony Schiavone told a story on his podcast one time that he and Wahoo were sitting down at Bennigan's, and Wahoo had to take insulin, right? And he said they sat down and the bartender brought him their first drink, and he looked at it, he said, "Well, Schiavone, I'm planning on drinking a lot tonight." And he says he whipped out his syringe and he goes, "Gonna need a double dose." Like that. And he's like, and he said there won't no fucking way that I was telling Wahoo McDaniel that, "Hey buddy, insulin don't work like that." Yeah. The stories of Wahoo coming into Kilby's restaurant in Collinsville, Virginia, and getting into fights with people and breaking furniture were legendary in Martinsville in the 70s and 80s. And I don't know why, but I always heard that Wahoo never started the fights. He'd be sitting there minding his own business and somebody would walk up.
Everybody wanted to test Chief. Everybody wanted to test Chief. He used to tell me stories all the time about that.
Yeah. He was talking about that, about being out in the parking lot, him and Dick Slater having to fight people off in the parking lot because they thought they were going to show how tough they were.
Yeah.
By fighting a couple of wrestlers, and then they find out the hard way that they shouldn't have done it.
Even as a little kid, one of the last wrestlers I would have ever messed with was Wahoo, because I mean he just looked like he was real serious, and even if he was your grandpa, you sure wouldn't go play in the mud when you're at grandpa's house, because if grandpa had to give you a whooping, it was gonna suck.
You break out one of them fishing rods, get on you. Because he loved to fish, man.
Yeah. He liked to play golf too, didn't he?
Yeah, but fishing was his passion. Back when I knew him, fishing was his passion.
Yeah.
He'd had a fishing rod with him in that truck everywhere he went.
Wow. Yeah. Wahoo McDaniel, well, he was one of a kind, that's for sure.
I miss him every day.
Yep. When did we lose Wahoo? It was back 2002, 03, somewhere like that.
I can't remember exactly when it was because hell, I can't remember last week.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember being very upset because they had his funeral in Texas and I couldn't go.
Oh, wow. Well, that's where he originally grew up, right?
2002.
2002, yeah.
April 18th.
Hey, but you know, this is a man who, I don't know if it's true or not, because I'm reading in the biography and they were talking about his college years. I'd heard a story that Wahoo drank a quart of motor oil on a bet one time. And I have not found anything in that biography to substantiate that story, although I think he'd be tough enough to pull it off. But I also heard that he ran 26 miles because on another bet, because the football team was in a dry county when he was in college and they wanted some beer, and that he actually ran 26 miles, not each way, but the total run there across the county line and back was 26 miles to get a case of beer for the football team. And
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I never heard that story.
No.
But, you know,
I have not been able to find anything to substantiate in the autobiography as well, but there's plenty of stories in the autobiography that I cannot repeat here, man, that are even better. So I would encourage you to get the Wahoo book and the Drake Tungsten book and the Mark James book and Dick Bourne book and all the wrestling books you can get. All right. I think we've done enough.
yes, sir.
Y'all ready to get out of here?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to AIWF Ringside Wrestling. Big surprise next week. The AIWF Mid-Atlantic champion, Jack, is going to join us along with AIWF Mid-Atlantic Women's Champion, Clara. They have stated they want to join us. They were going to try to be on here tonight, but couldn't make it. But they were going to join us at some point next week. So we look forward to seeing them. And whoever's going to be on the panel next week, try not to piss them off. All right. For Brian Danzig, Reagan, Rick Diesel, I am Mad Matt Carter. Thank you so much for tuning in to AIWF Ringside Wrestling. We will see you next week. That's all, fans. Until next time, so long for now.